let's talk about the future. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 100 years from now, what do you see in this sport?
It depends on leadership.
Okay, let's think positively. Let's say
Okay.
we got 100 Dr. Sam Freases around the world, and they're just really
then it's unlimited.
Really?
It's totally unlimited.
Okay.
I think the kind of I think it would be equivalent to the marathon running craze, which I've seen develop and I admire. And people realized, number one, they could, in America particularly, but around the world, there's an entrepreneurial spirit. And if someone really got a hold of this, they could make a lot of money.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never been motivated financially. I've been more, I've been an idealist when it comes to this stuff. And if someone realized that, if you did a sun moon swim, 40,000 times $50, do the math.
Yeah.
So if you have a lot of people who realize that if they do a quality job of open water swimming, where it's a real festival, where you celebrate what each person accomplishes and you don't make it elitist, that's how you develop the sport. And it takes leadership. It takes, if United States Swimming and Master Swimming and FINA would teach people how to get their community to embrace the concept. And you start with the newspaper, and you start with television, you start with their sports councils and say, hey, we have a great area for a great venue. Let's become something here, and they will.
Dr. Sam Freas has always been a visionary for the sport of open water swimming. Throughout his illustrious career, he has developed and guided the careers of some of the world's greatest marathon swimmers, including 7-time world professional marathon swimming champion Shelley Taylor-Smith and her male counterpart, a 7-time world professional marathon swimming champion Paul Asmuth. Dr. Freas is one of the world's most knowledgeable and successful open water swimming coaches, but he also served as a capable administrator and passionate promoter of the sport. He is also a former Olympic and NCAA Division I pool swimming coach. Dr. Freas takes Open Water Wednesday listeners on a path down memory lane when he talks about some of the great swimmers and competitors of the 20th century, from Taiwan to Canada. Most interestingly, he talks about what the sport of open water swimming can be in the future. He describes the National Collegiate Championships he organized in the 1980s, 20 years in advance of the first World University Games. He talks about his hosting of the first FINA World Open Water Swimming Championships in Honolulu, Hawaii, and the swimmers and administrators involved. As can be expected, Dr. Freas pulls no punches, and he gets straight to the point. His insights are profound, his passion is abundant, and his wisdom as clear as a cloudless day in the tropics. Open Water Source is pleased to welcome Dr. Freas to Open Water Wednesday.
Well, good morning. We're here at Open Water Wednesday with one of the most renowned open water swimming coaches in history, Dr. Sam Freas. Good morning, Sam.
How are you, Steve? Good to talk to you.
Good. And where do we find you today?
I'm in Shawnee, Oklahoma. I'm the new swimming coach and professor of kinesiology at Oklahoma Baptist University in Shawnee, Oklahoma.
Okay. For our global listeners, can you give us sort of the whereabouts of that college?
Shawnee is 30 miles east of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma,
Okay.
and Oklahoma City, for those who, is just north of Dallas, 3 hours.
Okay.
And it's in the lake region, starting the lake region of Oklahoma.
Got it. Now, for some people who don't know your background, I mean, I don't even know where to start. I don't know whether to talk about all the great swimmers that you've guided over the years. I don't know whether to talk about your vision, which, you had way back in the 70s. It is still relevant today. I don't know where to talk about the World Championships or anything. So why don't you inform us, how did you get started in open water swimming? What drew you to the sport?
Well, my first experience with open water was negative. I unfortunately had to represent, I was a sprinter, IMer,
Okay.
and I was a lifeguard as a young man in New Jersey, much like the famous Sid Cassidy,
Okay.
and I would represent our beach, Wildwood, which was the rock and roll capital of the world at the time. Wild Wildwood days, so forth and so on. And I represented the beach in all the lifeguard championships. And I was okay for, out through the surf and back. I was probably as good as any. But when you'd start swimming that half mile through the surf and back, I was good at riding waves. I just didn't like